So you're on the radio defending Nazi language and saying that you'd use it too?
No, I ain't a Nazi. I'm Irish. So I'm an Irish Catholic.
So was William Joyce, actually, mate.
All right, so it's 2025 and the political air is thick with the rhetoric of division pushed relentlessly by figures like Nigel Farage and Reform UK. We're constantly hearing words like invasion, swarm, etc. used to describe desperate migrants trying to cross the channel. You're about to see what happens when someone armed with this exact language calls James and gets confronted with cold hard facts. It's the masterclass in dismantling propaganda. If you want to see more videos like this, show your support by hitting the like and subscribe buttons, and don't forget to ring the notification bell so you never miss a video. Now let's watch this together, and then I'll give my thoughts at the end.
Oof. James is in Hersham. James, what would you like to say?
I don't think Braverman should apologise for what she said. I don't think words swarm and invasion have got anything to do with the respectful lady who had to leave the Holocaust, because the Jews were indigenous to Germany, so they never swarmed or invade.
Yeah, go on.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't think Braverman should apologise for what she said.
Okay.
I think she's right.
Because the Jews were indigenous to Germany?
Well, the Jews were indigenous to Germany, so they didn't swarm or invade. So I don't know why...
You know, they rounded up Jews in Poland and France, and she wasn't even from Germany, I don't think, this woman. She was from Belgium.
Okay.
So what? Well, the whole notion of the whole notion of the master race eschews completely the notion that the Jews are indigenous to any European countries. You don't need me to tell you that. So why mention that at the outset?
Could you say that again? Sorry.
Why mention indigenous German Jews at the outset when we're talking about a Holocaust?
I didn't know she was from Belgium. She was indigenous to Belgium, so...
It's quite an odd position to arrive at without having all the facts in front of you, James.
Well, there's the facts. She was from Belgium. She didn't swarm or invade anywhere.
Right.
So for her to be upset...
So why did the Nazis use that language then?
They didn't, did they?
Well, this is silly now.
Well, there's no evidence of that, is there?
There's no evidence of the Nazis using language like vermin or invasion or swarm to describe Jews.
We're not talking about vermin. We're talking about the two words swarm and invade.
Well, I'm adding vermin to the list now as well. If you're unaware of how the Nazis...
No, you can't be... if you're just going to keep adding words, then we could be here all day talking about words.
Yes, you're right. We are here all day talking about words.
Well, we're just talking about two specific words, what Braverman said.
Yes.
And I don't think she was wrong in using them words.
But you don't think the Nazis used them either, James? So your position is already a bit ridiculous, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Not really, no. For the people to clapping or applauding, they obviously agree with what Braverman was saying.
You would be as well, wouldn't you?
I would be, yeah.
So if Joan Salter was here now and she is telling you that this language reminds her of how the Nazis spoke about people like her, the ones that got away and of course the ones that were murdered in the camps, what would you say to her?
I wouldn't say that you swarmed or invade anywhere.
No, but she's saying this language reminds me of how they spoke about us.
How does them two words remind her?
Well, she's told you. I'll tell you again if you want.
Well, no,
I feel very strongly that the Holocaust ended in the death camps, but it started with words, with othering the Jewish people. This isn't too many words for you, is it, James?
No, it's not even
okay. With othering the Jewish people, blaming them for all the problems in Germany, and I'm afraid that the actions and words of our Home Secretary is very similar. She needs to look into her humanity rather than dehumanizing a group of people, many of whom are absolutely desperate. So how would you set her straight?
I'd say to her that she didn't swarm or invade anywhere. She was from Belgium. She was made to leave.
And if she said to you, I have no idea what you're talking about, how would you clarify?
She wouldn't say that, would you? How do you know what she'd say?
Well, that's why I used the word if.
Well, I don't think she would say that. I don't think she did swarm or invade anywhere. She was indigenous to Belgium as a Jew. Okay. She had to leave Belgium because the Nazis made her leave. And I think Bradman's right. We are being swarmed and invaded.
There we go. That's fine then. So you use the same language that they used.
Yeah, I'm using them two words. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And
Not
so
vermin,
and so
not
and so
vermin or
did the
any other
Nazis.
words. Not vermin or any other words you want to add in. Just swarm and invade.
Yeah. So you're on the radio defending Nazi language and saying that you'd use it too.
No, I ain't a Nazi. I'm Irish. So I'm an Irish Catholic.
So was William Joyce, actually, mate.
I wouldn't be defending like the Nazis.
But just their language, just the way they talked about.
Well, no, I don't
Jews.
think. But you're calling Braverman a Nazi.
No. Joan Salter is accusing her of using the same language that the Nazis used to talk
but
about
you just
Jews.
said to me, I'm happy using that Nazi language.
Yes, that's not calling you a Nazi, is it?
Well, it is in a way, isn't it?
No.
Well, I'm not using Nazi language.
You just said you would. You just said it is a swarm and it is an invasion.
It is, yeah. That's
Yeah,
not
but
Nazi language.
that's what the Nazis would say about the Jews.
No, they haven't.
Well, this is the point where the conversation sort of began and ended, because they just did, mate. Read a book.
Where did the Nazis ever say they were being swarmed and invaded?
I'll tell
by
you what,
Jews?
just go and Google it. And
why
then
do I
when
need
you've
to Google
Googled it, ask yourself why you didn't do that before you rang in.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
On you go.
And that right there is just another example of how the Farage playbook is disassembled in real time. It's a perfect illustration of how the political poison that these people spread infects people's minds. The caller tries to build a weak, pseudo-intellectual case to defend the language, the bizarre indigenous argument, which James swatted away easily. It's textbook from him and textbook from callers like this. They create a flimsy, fact-free justification for the prejudice they hold. And this is where it gets worse, because this is the core of the Farage effect. When James presents him with documented historical facts that the Nazis absolutely did use this sort of language, the caller's response is simply to deny reality. And this is a pattern. There's no evidence, he says. This is the goal of the modern far right, to create a post-truth bubble where their followers are so insulated from facts, they can defend the indefensible with total confidence. And if that shocks you, what comes next will stun you. After his argument is intellectually cornered, he doesn't retreat, he doubles down. We are being swarmed and invaded, he says. And in that one chilling sentence, he showed us the entire pipeline. He's absorbed the nonsensical rhetoric that we've been hearing for years now. And it's become his own deeply held conviction, completely divorced from its fascist origins. And this is why James's work is really critical. He demonstrates that the foundation of the anti-migrant platform pushed by the likes of Reform UK is built on a historical fear. The language just isn't just a bit strong. It has a direct, documented lineage to the darkest chapter of modern history, and people are now proudly adopting it. If you want to see more videos like this, hit the like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching.